What can we know right now in 10 minutes that will be useful for the rest of our life? How to spot someone choking and how to help them. Takes 10 minutes to learn and could save a life. Also, how to spot someone legit drowning. It looks nothing like the movies. Head will be barely above water, with mouth bobbing slightly in and out of the water, opening and closing like a fish would. Probably won't see their hands, because they'll be moving wildly underwater. They won't be making much sound, if at all. They'll have glassy eyes with a faraway stare. All this adds up to a very non-Hollywood look that we're all used to. This person looks calm in the water because their amygdala has taken over and they are on autopilot to simply stay alive. This is one of the reasons why they don't speak. Speech isn't important at this point, so their brain shuts it down. This is also why it's extremely dangerous to personally engage a drowning person. They will drown you to save themselves and probably have no recollection of doing it. Always use a long pole, rope, flotation device, or something else onto which they can grab. The phrase, "It probably isn't about you," applies to most everything. You're so varying. You probably think this thread is about Yahoo. Grasp the idea that everyone you meet knows something you do not. A wise man and a fool have a long conversation. The fool has the most to learn, but the wise man learns the most. Sorry for not being gender neutral. Close bracket. Your friends love you. Brain is just mean sometimes. Last night I had a dream that my friend was giving out discount codes, but only to his friends. I asked for one and he was like, lol, nope. This was good to read. How to properly stretch your hands and forearms. Stretch arms straight out forward. Point fingers up. Then without moving arms, ball a fist downward. Repeat as fast as possible. Taught indirectly from Bruce Lee. Tried it. Had difficulty. Tried it for a couple minutes. Still not getting it. Realized I had to have palms facing outward. If you're somewhere quiet and your stomach is growling loudly, don't tense up your tummy muscles. Push your stomach out instead and it will make the growl quieter. It's easier to clean up CM with cold water than with hot water. Same goes for blood on clothes or other material. Meant to help out the ladies with this one. Not someone plotting their next murder. Never ever depend on anyone. If you wanna get something done, you are the one who has to do it. I subscribe to this mentality, which has made moving up the ladder professionally very difficult for me. I don't like having anyone under me and having to delegate because I'd rather just do it all myself. Basic foundations of personal finance. Setting up a simple spreadsheet of one's budget is easy and useful. How to use the sort and filter functions on Excel. These functions can help prevent a lot of future pain. The first rule of Excel. If you're doing it manually, then you're doing it wrong. Don't ever, for any reason, do anything to anyone for any reason. Ever. No matter what. No matter where. Or who you are with. Or where you are going. Or where you've been. Ever. For any reason whatsoever. How to talk to strangers in mundane interactions. Hello beautiful day, thank you very much, my pleasure, enjoy your day, I appreciate that, great shoes. For your information, it is always sage to compliment a woman or man's shoes. It's non-sexual and show an appreciation of their fashion choice. I've noticed that plenty of people find this simple concept counterintuitive. Doing somebody a favor is like earning money, not like spending money. You become richer by doing favors to people, not by getting them to do favors to you. Money itself is just a formalized way of tracking who owes favors and who is owed favors. This only works with people who aren't extremely self-absorbed. My relatives think in the reverse. If you do them a favor, then you owe them for having put them in the awkward position of having a favor done for them and getting the opportunity to feel like a good person by serving them. It's just a bottomless black hole of favors and entitlement all the way down. If you're home alone and choking, dial 911. Grab a chair and run out to the sidewalk. If you at least make it outside, others will see your suffering and will hopefully help you. If the 911 operator can, they'll track your phone down to your location. If you haven't passed out on the sidewalk, you can jump on the back of the chair and try to land on your abdomen and possibly get the object out of your airway. If anyone passing by is CPR certified, they can perform abdominal thrusts before you pass out and monitor you. Call 911 for advice if you pass out. If you have a cramp in your calf, stretch your toes back towards you and it'll help get rid of it. Mine are using so bad I have to stand up to force my foot straight, even from dead asleep. If you ever fall through the ice and are trapped underwater, aim for a dark spot. A hole in the ice will look dark. And if someone tries to abduct you, fight like hell even if they have weapon. Your situation will not improve if they get you to a more private location. That was one of the best points I heard in my self-defense class. It goes against nature, since living longer always seems preferable to dying now. So you really have to make a deliberate mental effort to do it. Because a second location almost always means dying, but with a lot more suffering. I don't know though. If I was in a panic and primal instincts took over, I'm not sure I'd be able to manage this advice. Need to iron a shirt but can't be bothered with ironing? Have a hot shower and hang the shirt up in the shower room with the door shut, not in the actual shower. Obviously. The steam from the shower gets the wrinkles out. Hey presto. You have a new wrinkle-free shirt and you're fresh for your night out. Go get 'em tigers. Your washing machine has several filters that need to be cleaned regularly. UAC unit is the same. Not only do the dust filters, but the inside underneath the plastic body has several spots that need cleaning. It probably won't take that little time, but you can learn to manually mentally release the muscles in your head that cause tension headaches. Good luck figuring it out, because finding the method is hard due to the fact that you have to make an effort to stop the muscles' efforts. So you have to apply a sense of letting go, like a clenched fist relaxing to the muscles. When you start to get it, there was a feeling of relief. And like the back top of your throat behind where your tongue can touch relaxes and lowers a bit. It helps a lot. Once you can notice and let go to those headaches. And it helps with fever headaches. But you have to constantly maintain focus to keep them relaxed, so the pain from the heightened blood pressure, due to inflammation, is cut in half. How to bypass a lock. It's actually very easy to get through most lock doors. Any kind of card, license, credit card, whatever, can open a regular latch. If the door opens away from you, just slide it in between the door jamb and door handle. The card will slide in between the mechanism and open it. If the door opens towards you, it doesn't always work, but you can slide the card in and down at an angle to get behind the latch and open it that way. Most padlocks take less than 10 seconds to get into as well, but I don't know how to describe the technique with words. Venomous snakes have triangular shaped head and cat eyes. Non-venomous snakes have a more rounded head and dog eyes. Eyes equals pupils. Edit. Well, that's what I was always told here in North Carolina. But either way, I'm taking a shovel and chopping its f-king head off. Except that people don't know the same things you do, and that arguments are not caused by them being deliberately obtuse. This may sound obvious, and I do attribute it in part to my autism. But I think people often assume they all have the same baseline knowledge on things. So people arguing with the obvious, i.e., your knowledge, are just doing it to antagonize. They're not. People know different things. Ones who can internalize this knowledge. Discussing things with people becomes much easier. Learn how to cook some basic meals, especially breakfast. I started doing it during the initial quarantine and it went surprisingly fast. A few months of dedication is probably what you'd ideally want to get the meals to a place where they taste good and have a flair of your own personality. But you would not believe how quickly you can learn to cook something. Most YouTube tutorials are only like 3-5 minutes, and for simpler dishes you just know that tea forever and never need to consult the recipe again. First thing I learned to do was an omelette, and between watching the video and actually making it, it was way quicker than you'd expect. Best part is that like most things you get better with practice. and you pretty much have an excuse to cook or bake or whatever every single day. Plus the ladies love a guy who can cook. I mean, the stereotype is that we're completely incapable, for some reason. So even if you just have one really good dish, it goes a long way and doesn't take long at all. If I had to make a recommendation on a first recipe, I'd say omelette is easiest. But pancakes are definitely the thing that's most worthwhile. Being able to make homemade pancakes is f***ing awesome. The arrow on your filter needs to point towards the furnace, and please change them every month. 3 months tops. It will help prevent costly repairs. Your fuel gauge probably has a little pump near it. There's a small arrow pointing to the side where the fuel tank door is. Every once in a while, you need to turn off your radio and roll your windows down. Listen to the noises your car makes. It'll let you know you have an issue that needs to be addressed. To convert from miles to kilometers, you multiply by around 161. This is really close to the golden ratio, which is around 162. The trick is that the Fibonacci sequence grows by the golden ratio. So instead of multiplying by anything, you can just guess at a conversion from miles to km. For example, 13 kilometers is a Fibonacci number and corresponds to 8 miles, the previous number. Similarly, 21 miles corresponds to 34 kilometers and a 5k is around 3 miles. You can also convert in between Fibonacci numbers by guessing 17 is halfway between 13 and 21. So it probably corresponds to 10, 5 and 27. 5. That little tab thing on the bottom of your rear view mirror. Flipping it puts it at a different angle that reduces the glare of headlights behind you when driving at night. If someone can explain it better, please do, because I learned this on Reddit, and being a second shift person, this info has been so helpful on the drive home. 90% of dead computers can be fixed with a can of compressed air, a container of isopropyl alcohol and a new tube of thermal paste. Watch a 10-minute video on how to use the above and your laptop's lifespan will triple, at least. Lots of great things already mentioned, especially the medical emergency ones. A few other ideas. How to sew a button on. What a credit card is and how it works. How to sharpen a kitchen knife. The proper way to iron a shirt blouse, quicker with better results. A basic function in Excel e.g. removing duplicates from a list or using COUNTIF. I realized to most Redditors this may be incredibly obvious, but I work with some very senior social workers who manage huge budgets and a massive number of staff. Yet can't insert a column in a spreadsheet or create a very simple formula. And some of them are surprising young. 10 minutes learning how to make the formatting look professional had one co-worker just about reduced to tears because she thought it would be so difficult and it wasn't. Here's a 2-minute cooking course. Browning meat and vegetables creates flavors, as opposed to burning, which makes them black, bitter and potentially carcinogenic. Fats allow the flavors to distribute throughout the dish and help your mouth and nose to sense them. Cooked food without fat tends to taste like nothing. Salt makes the flavors feel stronger. Adding just a little bit can change a horrible bland dish into a yummy one. The same is true, but to a much smaller extent, for other flavor enhancers like sugar, sodium glutamate, etc. Acid changes flavors and can make the taste of different ingredients in your food more or less distinct. Browning is like putting a CD in your stereo. Fats are like turning the stereo on. Salt is like turning up the volume. Acid is like fine-tuning the bass treble button. You are never too early to save for retirement. The future time value of money compounds your savings exponentially the longer you build it up and not draw out from it. The phonetic alphabet. I learned the NATO phonetic alphabet for work but still feel awkward using it around regular people because they probably don't know it. So end up doing this weird mishmash of the typical B as in boy thing, but using the phonetic alphabet words as the examples. F as in foxtrot. U as in uniform. C as in Charlie. Double quote. The different applications of a square knot, surgeon's knot, slip knot, and half hitch. and how to make them with either 1 or 2 strands. It's all well and good to make a square with 2 or a half hitch with 1. But knowing which is the best for a permanent knot and which for a temporary one to hold 2 strands together is very handy. Source: stringing beads for jewelry repair, using twine in the garden, and flying kites. If you want to understand anything in the modern world, some basic geography, just being able to identify like 5 major countries on a map can help you understand a decent amount of news and stories a lot. But the amount of people who couldn't find anything on a map is sad. When you get blood on clothing, take it off and rinse it under cold water immediately before proceeding to wash the garment like you normally would. If you don't rinse it immediately, you won't get that stain out. If you ever fall off a ship ferry at sea and were lucky enough to be spotted, don't try to swim your way to safety. The more you try to swim, the lesser the chances of survival. Just try to keep afloat and conserve energy and body heat while rescue team do what they're supposed to. Unless you are in hypothermic waters, the best bet always is to stay afloat without trying to swim to somewhere. This information about falling overboard, hypothermia and conditions, survival at sea etc. are based on my own experience of 12 years sailing on merchant ships. You become what you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with positivity, you will be a positive person. And vice versa. Everyone has their own internal issues that they are too scared to talk about. Consider this whenever they're being odd. And maybe some childhood trauma causes them to act in that way. Please empathize and try to understand them before passing judgment. Do what makes you happy. Strive to make others happy. Don't hurt anyone, is my motto. This is literally all it takes. Learn to spot the signs of a stroke. And X200B. I was actually in a scenario where the knowledge came in handy and I was able to get the person help in time. Fast action saves lives. And limits stroke impact. So, think fast. F facial droop. A arm weakness. S speech difficulty. T time to call for help. 911 US 000 Australia 999 UK. Manners. Plain and simple. Please. Thank you. You're welcome. No problem. Whatever floats your boat. I encounter so many people in my trade that are simply impolite. And it f***ing sucks. Drink a hot cup of lemon water first thing in the morning. Easiest way to get things moving. But do it before brushing your teeth because of the acid. How to change the air filter in your home. How or even that you need to occasionally clean the crumbs out of the toaster. How to shut off the water to your home and where. How to change a flat. How to boot into safe mode. How and with what you put out different types of fires. Dog body language. How to use an EpiPen. How to prepare in case of an evacuation alert. How to clean a toilet. The rule of 72. For low rates of return, less than 10%, you can divide 72 by the rate of return to get the approximate time it takes to double your money. For example, if you invest $10, 000 at a 6% rate of return, it will take approximately 72/6 equals 12 years for that money to grow to $20. 000. This is good for in your head calculations and lower interest rates. How to turn off a toilet. Locate your emergency water shut-off valve or water main location and how to use them, etc. I've seen a couple of apartments flood because of people not taking the time to learn basic plumbing skills and rely on calling a plumber for an issue they could have troubleshooted themselves with a Google search. How discounts work, at least in most places. 50% plus 30% is actually 65% of discount. The extra 30% applies after the 50%. So it's 30. 5 equals 15% of extra deal. Basic survival skills. If you ever find yourself hiking and you get lost, follow water. Little trickles lead to creeks which lead to rivers. And humanity always builds by rivers. If you injure yourself on a trail, do not move. Do not yell unless you can hear someone else yelling or you'll wear out your voice. Grab a stick or rock and hit it on something every so often. It will make a loud sound without being too tiring. Even better if you can tap out SOS. 3 short. 3 long. 3 short. If you are desperate for food, acorns can be soaked in water for 24 hours to dissipate the acid inside them and make them edible. Quarks combine with quarks, you get nucleons, protons, neutrons. Nucleons combine with nucleons, you get atoms. Atoms combine with atoms, you get compounds. Compounds combine with compounds, you get organella. Organella combine with organella, you get cells. Cells combine with cells, you get humans. Humans combine with humans. Dart. Positivity is the key to life. It spreads to others that need it and cause a domino effect around the world. Even a small act like giving some 50A for the rest of their food later they do another good act. I still remember when a lunch lady covered 5A that I was short of food item, and if you see this lunch lady, thank you. During a debate or argument, don't straight away reject another thought, opinion, idea. Instead take a moment to look at it from a second perspective and from the point of the person who said it. Think about it on another level. If it still sounds hella ridiculous, then okay, reject it. But more often than not there could be parts, not all, parts of their argument that actually make sense or that you agree with. That not everything is black and white. A lot of things in life are all about balance. This will help when thinking about your health and your social life, as well as decision making in the future.